Alright, next part of our playthrough, and we're gonna go home. We just acquired the S license, so that means we can finally do some S license events and finally start the last part of this game. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna trade again. We'll buy from another memory card. This is from actually one of my casual playthroughs from a few years ago. Because on this playthrough, I managed to get a car that I don't have here that I really want to drive. Let me find it. Let's see. There it is. GT40 race car. Look at that beaut. She's looking great. I wanted to win this car earlier, and you know, I know we've driven a GT40 in Endurance, but I think this would be pretty fun. Let's buy it. So, yeah. Yes, Darkman, I'm now at 94%. So we bought a GT40. Let's give it an overhaul here. So, tires. I want to buy a lot. Let's give ourselves some stuff to work with. I don't think I can turbo this at all. Okay, we do have a transmission. I didn't do any testing on the side of this. I have no idea if this will work. Alright. And I don't think we can weight reduction either. Alright, let's give it a car wash and oil change. And then we'll figure this out on the fly. We're gonna go racing. And we're gonna do the Dream Car Championship in a GT40 race car. I know we just drove an FTO, but I think that was the only dream car I actually got. So I'm making up my own rules, and instead of driving a fake race car, let's drive a real race car that is honestly a dream car for everybody. And yeah, we get a lot of prize money. Money's not really an issue anymore in this game. And yeah, it's a race of 7, and well, it is what it is. Back to professional league grinding. As if we didn't have enough of that. Alright, so I gotta do some settings. So let me write this down so I can save it for later. Sure. What was it at before? I don't even remember. Is that like level 32? We are on Slipper Slicks. Let me write down level 32 as well. Alright, y'all know what time it is. It is good old rubber band trick. Alright, rubber band. Good. $15 laps. Okay. Won't be ultra long, but we are against more dream cars. It's familiar to the amateur league version. In fact, I think it's the exact same grid as the amateur version. And there we go. Let's give our fingers a bit of a break. I don't know if I'll do 1 or 2 races. Depends how long this will take. Maybe I work a little bit on it during the week next week. We'll see. I'm still kind of busy with studying for exams, and I got to get cranking on that because my exam's in about a month. But we'll see. I could still make time for gaming every now and then. I just gotta be careful with work-life balance. Alright. So our top speed is clearly enough to beat these dream cars. The question will be, will our GT40 be enough to beat these cars in regular race? The answer is I have no idea. I did barely any testing on this before. I did do a test to see if it had a good enough top speed, and that if I could at least keep up with the AI on one race, but I only tested that for like a minute. I didn't test an actual pit strategy or anything. Yep, giving the fingers a bit of a rest. My right hand. After absolutely abusing it on Thursday night, because of the endurance, not because of anything else. Not what I meant by that. That came out wrong. But yeah, after nearly giving myself carpal tunnel for 3 hours of driving straight with the DualShock, good to give it a bit of a break. Just hang out here. And it looks like it's going to be under 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes or so. Let's see. Probably won't need to stop at all. They have a good selection of tires to choose from as well. We are vibing. This car's beautiful though. Too bad we're gonna waste all the oil on this race though. It's just test course. I don't know why they think, oh yeah, having a 15 lap race on test course is good. The race is pretty much decided after 5 laps. Even shorter, to be honest. It can be decided in 1 lap. Hey FDL, welcome back. We are just driving in a straight line for what's going to be like 25 minutes. I'm just zoning out right now. I should probably put on some tunes, but this would be pretty early in the YouTube video to do that. I don't know. How was your week? It's the weekend. Y'all got any plans? April. I didn't stream last weekend. I was out. But we're back to our usual grind. 12:10 a.m. It's 11:07 a.m. here. It's just beginning of the day. Port forwarding Minecraft server? What do you mean by that? 'Cause I have no idea what that means. getting surgery on Wednesday. Good luck to him. Hope he does alright. It's always a stressful time. It means he can make a Minecraft server public. Ooh. Costed 90,000 Philippine pesos. I don't know how much that is in US dollars, but I hope you guys have insurance. Healthcare is something that unfortunately is too much of a financial burden for everybody, so it's always tricky. Just vibing here. Oh man. Yeah, Alonso, I guess I could finally talk about F1 qualifying. I didn't talk about it that much, but I guess now we have some downtime since it's not focusing on driving. Alonso, man, what a heartbreaker. He looked like front row capable, especially given like how Sainz ended up doing. He was purple and green, I think, or green and purple, something like that, where he was like 3/10 ahead. I know Alpine is not great in Sector 3, but he was on a flyer, and then his engine cut out, it looked like, which meant he lost engine braking, which means he put it in the barrier. Couldn't even set a time, which is unfortunate. He looked like he was on a mega drive. It's crazy to see old Alonso going for pole position. It just shows that age isn't relevant. Look at Checo a couple weeks ago putting it on pole. Kimi a couple years ago. You know, everyone's like, oh, everyone's so old, and it's like, no, they can still drive really, really well. The young talent's also pretty talented. That's next in late 80s, 90s while he was working, driving his truck, crashed with scratch. Oh man, that's unfortunate. I recently met somebody last weekend who was in a rough car accident, and he was, it was only a few months ago, but he's like still recovering, and he's still kind of messed up. He can't like drive on his own. He needs people to take him somewhere. He can't sit down properly. It's like, it's just like so messed up what unlucky accidents can do to you. It makes you, you know, be humbled about life itself. Here I am just sitting in my bedroom just driving a freaking fake car all day, not having to worry about that. And he made 59 now. It's still pretty impressive, but he's of course should have a long life still to live. So I hope it all goes well. It's always stressful to have a parent be going under medical stuff. I've been there before. Just well, have some hope. Cherish who's around you while you have them. And be thankful when you see them again. Yep, Albon got disqualified for being underfueled, so he will start last, maybe pit lane. Stroll from last place gets a penalty. I think he will actually qualify then technically ahead of Albon then, since even though he had no time. I don't know how that works, because then doesn't that mean both Albon and Stroll have no time? So how does that work? I don't know, we'll find out in a few hours. Oh man, the leaders are pitting after just 5 laps? That tells me these guys are going to be short-lived in the actual race. Man, after driving like 70, 90, 100 lap races for the last month, it's weird to see just 15, that's it. Even though this is kind of a long lap. Not the worst. Vest slap. Yeah, all of a sudden McLaren is great and Haas is not so great. It's so weird. The midfield seems absolutely bonkers this year, so that's exciting. McLaren went from, punting around at the back, can't make it out of Q1 at Bahrain, running last 2 places, and then all of a sudden they're second row. Just McLaren things. Although Lando was a really good qualifier, so not that much of a surprise. Maybe considering how the first 2 races went, though. It really tells you that just the Mercedes-powered cars are just kind of, they have nutty aero, let's say. Slipstream? Oh, I bumped him. I thought I could get a good slingshot. Could have been the fastest lap, maybe. But maybe we can get a slingshot off these guys. Or I could bump them again. So how are these guys burning through their tires on a straight line? I mean, I guess I'm running super slicks and my fronts are yellow, but come on. Alright, maybe this could be a good fastest lap attempt. Tried to get a little slipstream, but he was coming right out of the pits. It looks like I'm not going to catch him in the straight, but on the curve, which is going to not be as good of a slipstream. That will be helpful, though. Did I see R/place? Yeah, I placed a few tiles there. I didn't spend a ton of time there, but yeah, a couple times I followed that over last weekend and sent a couple tiles. Mostly like cleaning up people who vandalized the F1 related stuff. And I also contributed to the Nico Rosberg picture. I will say that. Wow, so all that slipstream just for 0.2 of a second. But yes, I did contribute to the Nico Rosberg picture on R/place. There were so many Among Us crewmates on that picture. I think it was like 2,800 or something like that. Probably a lot more than that too. Yeah, that Nico picture. Surprised that they picked of all the F1 pictures to do that one, but you know what? It was pretty funny. I think I would have picked Alonso in the deck chair or Kimi eating an ice cream or something like that. Alright, lap 10. We are making progress. At least I don't have to like really focus on driving. I just hang out here and just steer the car. I think we'll do 2 races. We'll do this one and then I'll do one more. I'll do that Grand Valley one. It's a long race, but kind of bored. And it can save us some time later on. That way we can kind of do the last part in like one stream, in 2 streams. The last 5 races. How you doing, Golden Knight? Don't hit the barrier. Oh well. Sonic 2's out, yeah. I'll probably watch that movie once it goes on Hulu or whatever. I don't know. Or maybe I'll take, I don't know. None of my friends are really interested in that kind of stuff. You know, as a joke, right before the pandemic hit, as a joke, I was going to go with my friends to see the first Sonic movie, but then the pandemic hit, so that never happened. But now I'm not in college anymore, so I can't exactly do that. Yeah, Sonic 2, the perfect date night movie. Perfect. Be really funny though. I don't know. I haven't really paid much attention to that movie. I saw it got a ton of marketing, but I mean, it's probably going to be your typical gamer movie, especially that it's got a sequel. Probably going to have some cringy jokes or whatever. Fortnite reference, maybe. We'll see though. I think it will still be a fun watch, maybe, but something to watch with like popcorn and a beer, maybe. A movie you kind of just put on and laugh at. I mean, that's how I went in when I watched the first Sonic movie. It was just like kind of lighthearted, didn't take it seriously. Some of the jokes were kind of funny. So. Good movie. If I was a kid, I would have liked it. Not saying I didn't like it. I just thought like, oh yeah, just a kids movie. Not really my style anymore. I still think the SpongeBob movie is the best kids movie ever. Look at those consistent 141s. They're just popping in and out. Four laps. I'm tired of driving this, even though I haven't really driven it. I'm just like kind of staring at a screen for 25 minutes doing nothing. No tunes, just straight line, no cornering, no brakes, no carpal tunnel though. I've only ever gotten carpal tunnel, I think, once, and that was when I played GT5 for like 6 hours straight. And that was on the DualShock 3, which is very similar to this controller. That was not a good idea. It wasn't severe, but my hand hurt for like a week and a half. That was not fun. I had to get like a brace or whatever, a wrap bandage thingy. And now it's a real concern again because I work a computer, office job. I'm at a computer for 8.5 hours a day. And then I come back home and play video games, basically. So probably not good for my wrists, but whatever. I've survived a year of working in gaming without any issues so far. And I do love burning oil so much on this car. So close to the barrier and then just pivoting away from it. Do I plan to return Asphalt 9? I have 0% chance of returning Asphalt 9. I feel like I say it every single stream, but like even if they improve the game, which I've heard the game is getting better, I just have no interest in playing, just straight up. Sorry, but that's just kind of how it is. I work full time, so I don't get that much free time anymore, so whatever free time I do get, I want to be playing a quality racer or something, you know, or just a quality game. Something like Gran Turismo, or, you know, on the side, I don't stream it, but I've been into the Ratchet and Clank series and the Metal Gear Solid series kind of recently, so, you know, I'm focusing on playing those classics and, you know, games I enjoy or I'm curious about, rather than just grinding another mobile game. The Atomic Kyra again. Maybe we can get a new PB if we get multiple slipstreams. I don't think I got much help there. Maybe I'll get some help at the end of the lap. Yeah, the thing is, like, the fundamentals of Basketball 9 haven't changed that much. It's just do the events, play multiplayer until you run out of fuel, and run out of tickets for TLEs. And that's about it. It's hard to pace an Asphalt 9 stream. That was the thing I had the most struggle with, was sometimes they just didn't give you that much content for a weekend and you couldn't really work with that much. And, you know, I guarantee you with the garage I had a year ago, it's still super competitive. Ooh, so the FTO is pitting with a lap to go. Let's see if that works out for him. Championship's going to be irrelevant because I'm, you know, going for the win. But we'll see how the second place people handle it. I think, though, FTO is going to end up regretting it. So we got a 140.4, new PB. Yeah, exactly, Desiree. There's no fundamental change to Asphalt 9. I get you guys liked watching me play. Yes, I had some pretty skilled gameplay. But I don't mean to talk myself down, but I wasn't the best player in the world. I wasn't a superstar like I was in Asphalt 8. I wasn't a Feek or Alex, you know, where I could smash lap times and world records. I was skilled, but I don't know, I didn't get as much enjoyment out of driving Asphalt 9 as I did Asphalt 8. I felt like there was a lot less to play for. And then on top of that, the competitive scene was pretty weak. Because the TLE system and the fuel system really restricted you. It's not that fun. You need access. The most important thing about a competitive multiplayer game is access. And if you have unbalance and a fuel system, energy system that like just is pure pay to win, and releasing cars that are just marginally better that you gotta spend quite a lot, invest quite a lot of either tokens or real money to get into, that just hurts the competitive environment. Asphalt 8 hit was problematic in that way too, but not as severe. Alright. Well, we're almost done with this race. 15 laps of just straight line going burr. Almost 100 miles, by the way. 96 miles, 97 miles. That is race 1 done. Take the rubber band off. Won't be needing those services until later. Sadly, we aren't all done with test course yet. We can start to say goodbye to some races, maybe in this championship. I haven't taken a full look yet. I think that will be the case. I know I left everybody twice, so I'm not really going to wait for them. But there's your race 1 standings. GT40 does well in race 1 because GT40 is a straight line beast. It's simple. That's all you need to say. 40,000 credits is our reward. I am not gonna mess with that. Let's change our options back to R2. I will save the game as well, even though I'm gonna do another. I'll do another race. I'm just gonna have to go to the bathroom again, essentially. No red oil because red oil happens at 186 miles. So we got like 2 races of good oil left. We're back. Alright. What's up, Wish YouTube? Alright. I forgot what the setting was. It was like 70. I wrote it down though. Let's grab it. 5271. I'm going to drop it to stage 1, we'll see how this goes, and then I'm going to switch the tires to regular slicks. Because this car is going to need some grip. I will sacrifice some tire life for more grip. Let's see how the slicks handle though. And I'll keep it on stage 1. I might take that off entirely though. Let's see, 518. You might not even need that. I don't know how the cars are upgraded. Yeah. I already told you, Golden Knight, though, is that, like, I just don't find any interest in Asphalt 9 anymore. It's kind of all the same to me. Alright. Okay, that's not heavily skewed. I don't know much about tuning suspension, and I don't feel like I need to do anything with it. Let me just double check that I have the right controls. Yep. Alright, here's the first true test, is can our GT40 race these guys on a track rather than just in a straight line? We got the straight line speed. I probably could survive without the stage 1, but let's see. Worst case scenario, we just get the race done a bit faster. Take it easy into this corner. Maybe these guys are so fast that they can't control it. That seems to happen in professional league. Or I could just take, you know, first place within 30 seconds. That could happen too. This car does not have that good brakes though. We did just drive this in the license test. You know what? We might be able to have a good race with the AI, as long as they don't do that. They seem to have the pace though. I'm trying to fumble with this car a bit. I think we made the right call with our setup. Fortunately, this is going to take a bit longer than test course, but whatever. Yeah, I didn't play enough of Undercover to like get a really good opinion on it. Ooh, brakes are still not good at high speed. We managed to keep it on track, which is good enough. Braking quite early for this corner. I think GT40 was the right pick. It's a pretty fun car to drive, I gotta say. I was, you know, I was always finding it tricky to drive this when I was younger, but 97 hours later, I think I know this game pretty well, that I can handle this car. Alright, see you, Golden Knight. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys, but this is going to be my last race for this stream. We'll come back and finish this up either next weekend or sometime during the week. Oh man. We'll see how our tire choice is helping us out. Probably gonna be a one stop, I'm guessing. On lap 7, maybe. 7, 8, maybe. We'll have to see how the others treat their pits. Right now I'm just trying to drive consistently. And smooth. With this car especially, you gotta be smooth and early on the brakes. I think my gear ratio is just the right call. I'm just nearing top speed. FTO decides to pit. Only 3 laps in. And I think P2 is pitting too, the Tommy Kaira. Those are the 2 fastest cars in this group. And they pit ridiculously early. Wow, that's kind of a buzzkill. I didn't need to upgrade then, probably. I probably could have rolled with the medium tires, but whatever. Nice driving going on right now. You're on 1/3 race distance. It's gonna take about 27 minutes then. That was a good lap, by the way. I liked that one. I'm not talking that much right now, but I am just chilling out, sort of focusing on driving. But if y'all want to chat, chat's all open. Tires are starting to wear a little bit. Gears are a lot less connected than I would have thought, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna pit on lap 8. Do a 1-stop. What was the plan for April Fool's? You know, I was in Peoria on April Fool's Day, so I didn't have a video. I thought about doing like a I'm coming back to asphalt video, but I thought like nah, because I think that's still where people would take me too seriously. Or maybe say like I'm coming back and it'll be like to Call of Duty or something, like, or to Roblox or whatever, right? Oh man, this tire's starting to hurt. I'll go the extra lap, but it's gonna be painful. It would have been like a comeback related video, but I don't know, I was kind of busy throughout the week, so I didn't really have time. It would have been another skit like last year. I gotta say, like last year, just looking back, last year's video, what I did, I thought of that in like 1 hour. And just filming that and editing it, putting it together, that was like so fun. One of my favorite skits to make. I should like more consistently like make like skits and memes and stuff, but every time I get an idea, I'm always at the wrong place where it's like I'm at work or I'm like about to fall asleep. I'm like, I got an idea for a meme video, and then I forget about it or never just end up materializing it. I'm sure a lot of people are like that though. We are just absolutely skidding around. This tire is full pain. Ooh. Come on. No grip. Oh no, my tires are gone. They have definitely fallen off the cliff, but into the pits we go. To do the one stop. I did make an Asphalt comeback, yeah, several months ago. I haven't played it since though. I haven't played Asphalt 9 though, since I test drove the Venom F5 like in June or whenever that car came out. I don't remember. Go. Killing the tires on the outlap. Perfect. Did I finish the 1 hour races? I haven't even started those yet. In GT7, I'm currently grinding circuit experience because I want all that money. And it's, you know, I'm just taking my time with it. I don't want to grind it way too fast. And also those endurances take time. I do want to play them though. All. But after seeing the prize car list, it's like, okay, I don't need to rush to get these done immediately. That's the beauty with Gran Turismo, is you play at your own pace. It doesn't matter if you finish it, you know, within a couple hours or whatever. As long as you're having fun along the way, it can take however long you want it to take. Those endurances will always be there for me to play. Nice to not have a time-limited event like that, you know? I know they're going to eventually add time trials, and there's, of course, sport mode, which is by nature time-limited, but it's not an integral part of, like, progression. Yeah, I mentioned this in my stream the other day, but I think my GT7 playthrough that I had announced all the time at the beginning of the year, I'm putting that on hold. Because I feel like right now the game is in its infancy in terms of like what to actually do in a 100% playthrough. Because to be honest, right now, most of what you can do is the cafe menus, and that's all pretty scripted, and not much variety there. So I feel like a playthrough like we're doing here would be kind of boring because there's no like variation in what we're driving. Every playthrough is going to drive the same set of cars pretty much. The only variation being how quick can I do the licenses and missions, and then the non-cafe related races, which is only a handful of those. And once they add more of those, once they add more actual progression, then I will consider, going for a 100% playthrough. But I think we've definitely done some GT burnout on the channel, just from how long this playthrough is going. Thankfully, we're in the closing stages, but I think in terms of streaming, I'll do that Burnout 3 playthrough. And then, we'll go from there and playing other types of games. And then I'll reconsider playing both GT7 and GT4. That's the other thing, is I want to, at some point in the future, not this year, maybe next year or the year after, I know I'm thinking super long term, but it's a genuine thought, is I want to play GT4 on the channel. Maybe not go for a 100% playthrough, maybe like 100% excluding endurances, or make like a exception for those or something. By the way, I saw it. What do I think of the GT Bicyclone? I really like that car. I've always liked that car. It's a little quirky concept. I wish I could see one in real life. There's only a handful of those in existence, and I think it's a cool looking car. Didn't drive it that much in GT 5 and 6, but I think it's a neat car. It was cool to see it in Asphalt 8, that was for sure. And Asphalt 9, I guess. Although I never ended up actually owning that car in Asphalt 9 because of, Drive Syndicate. But it was nice. I think I did a review on it or something when I was in Asphalt 8, or a best lap or something. I got it for a promotional from Gameloft, and it was a fun car to experience. Too bad it wasn't ultra competitive, but it was still a fun car regardless. We're about to lap the FTO. Left the Tommy Kyra already. Only a few laps left. It's so crazy, like, I'm like so in this endurance mood right now. And it's like these lap counts are now relatively low. It's still long races, but it's only 15 laps instead of, 100 or whatever. So, you can actually get, like, progressing again. It'll make the time go by a bit faster. Got a little bit of slipstream there. Not going to be a fastest lap, but not far from it. Stay on the curbs. Not gonna hit me? Okay. Is it about a thunderstorm out here? Hopefully my power doesn't cut right before the end of this race. Maybe 22 minutes of my life I never get back. get much of a slipstream here. Kind of too far back and too far back from the RX-7. And the tires aren't as good anymore. 2 laps to go though. You've lapped the whole field. It's a shame that the 2 fastest cars have the worst pit strategy. That's going to cost them in the end. Last lap. Kind of a quiet race, but pretty dominant performance-wise. Oop, bit of a grass lawn mowing, lawnmower Bottas, lawnmower Charles. Lawnmower GT40. Oh well. I'm hungry. So this is going to be the last race of the stream. Of course, in YouTube it will look pretty seamless, but we're just throwing the car around a bit. After about 25 minutes of smooth driving, I just don't care anymore. I've lapped the field already. I can murder these tires for all I care. Alright. That's 2 races out of 7. I'm glad this is a 7-race championship. It will go kind of quickly. But there you go. Grand Valley. Done. Good job, GT40. Proud of you so far. Whew. Okay. So, once again, it's a dub for the RX-7. FTO and ZZ2 are in pain because they picked the worst pit strategy I could think of. And what does that mean for the point standings? Let's find out. That's only 2 points for the ZZ2, despite it being a really fast car. The RX-7 is a clean 12 right now. So yeah, there you go. This looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward championship. Which, I mean, good for my playtime, but not maybe the best. Wow, no rolling starts, grid starts again, just looking at that. I think we'll get a replay shot later on. So, I will save that for now. Timer back on for session number 2. Let's move on. This will be our 3rd race in a 7-race championship, so we got 5 to go. And, I don't remember what the track order is. Drop Mountain. Okay. Let me just check the setup again, because if I remember correctly, we kind of dominated the race. And our tire choice was fine. I think I'm going to keep the upgrade. Let's just go with it. I felt pretty comfortable driving the GT40 on trial on Grand Valley. So let's just keep going. Yes, we are driving. We're going to hit 100 hours, by the way, within this championship. It's crazy. This has been a long playthrough. We are not done yet. I wonder if these AI are still going to have a bad pit strategy on this race. The FTO and ZZ2 are the fastest on the grid, but I think they're running soft tires. They pit more than they should. So in Gran Turismo 7 we had a good week in terms of cars that became available. The Group C boys, so that's the 77B, XJR9, the Nissan R92 CP. All became available in the Legendary dealership, and amazingly, they aren't $20 million each. They were only around $2 million more or less. 77B was the cheapest at like $1.8 million. It's crazy. So yeah, I sniped up all three of those. And you haven't bought them in GT7, I highly recommend them. Even if they eventually become prize cards somewhere later down the line, you just want to have them. Plus they're really good in the grind races. That's our Degna race is really good with the Group 1 cars. Oh, I went back into the timing error. They did open all the invitations for 30 days. That's already active. I myself bought a Ferrari FXXK also. It was kind of overshadowed by the Group C, but yes. You can now buy every single car in Brand Central if you wanted to. No invitation roulette luck needed. Pretty good week in GT7 despite not having much new content. Money is now pretty easy to make because you can do circuit experience, the missions, and the grind races. Yeah, I started like 5 minutes earlier because last week I started like 10 minutes late, so I figured if I want to knock out this championship in one shot, start maybe a little bit early. You haven't missed much, just the start of this race. Weird because the AI seem to be so fast at the start of the race and then they just drop off. Yeah, we're doing Dream Car Championship. And I made up my own rules for what counts as a dream car. Instead of using the fictional cars, we're going to use what I call an actual dream car. that has similar performance. I forget if this is like a roster. The GT40 is part of the Dream Car Championship in GT5 or 6. It should be though. Hey Thunder, how you doing? Good seeing you again. Now what's interesting is these races are the same distance, about same laps as the grind races in GT7 that pay around like 750 to 800,000 credits for a clean race. So in the time it takes us to finish this championship, we could have made like 5 million credits in GT7. But instead we're playing GT3. Yeah, I saw Elon Musk has been in a whole pickle by Twitter, and the people around Twitter don't want that to happen. I don't personally support that, although I understand that, yeah, billionaires own plenty of companies that we use all the time. But I feel like this is Paul's spite so that Elon could take down that kid who's tracking his plane. Even though that's public information. I feel like this is all an attempt just to take down that account. So he just owns it. Just something personal. Even though there'll be like a subreddit created for it or something, then or they'll just migrate and then they'll buy Reddit, you know. Just buy the world. So we are completely gapping the field. Even though we had to, like, you know, actually pass for the lead on, like, lap 3. This field doesn't seem to know pacing, or they don't seem to improve their lap times at all. Rather, they regress. Race is going a little bit quicker than the Grand Valley test course races. Big jump. And a big slide. I think we'll pit on lap 8. Do a 1-stop. Again, Tommy Kyra pits just after catching the field. Yeah, Max DNF'd again. This championship is getting spicy already, and it's round 3. McClure's got a mega lead right now because Russell scoring, first of all, his first real podium But Russell's second in the standings because he's had no huge drama. Meanwhile, everyone else is like DNF'd and had bad races around him, except for Charles. So all I can say about that is, if Charles manages to lose this title, then I think Ferrari are cursed. I know it's pretty early to talk about the championships, but it looks really good for Ferrari right now. Like, better than it ever did in 2017 and 18. Red Bull have a reliability issue, it seems. And they also have a pace issue. Because in Australia, even without reliability in the question, and even Bahrain, the Ferrari looked untouchable. Especially in Australia. Leclerc had a Grand Chelem. Was never even really challenged from Max except for one restart, and he couldn't even make a pass. I will say, if Ferrari does collapse, it actually looks pretty good for Mercedes, despite them, being clear third fastest. And nothing more than that. But right now they're P2 in the constructors, Russell's holding P2 in the drivers. And, Lewis is Lewis. He's currently 5th, I believe, but, he can kick into gear and go fast again. As long as Mercedes stays consistent, they could definitely make a big impact in the championship. I don't think they can outright win it still, at least not at this stage, but anything could happen. Science is not bulletproof. Red Bull is not bulletproof. Charles is looking pretty good right now, but it's only been 3 races in 23 races of the season. Yeah, Williams got a point after a crazy strategy for Albon, where he did 99% of the race on a hard tire, pit on the last lap, and managed to get a point. Mostly thanks to Lance Stroll holding up the field for half the race. That's how those strategies work. So that means now Aston Martin is 10th place and last in the standings. They are the only team who have scored 0 points. Yeah, and Aston's particularly had a miserable weekend in Australia. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And the most notable thing to happen out of Aston Martin was Vettel riding a scooter on practice 1. I mean, Aston definitely, I think, will score points this season. All it takes is just one crazy race, and they seem to at least have some punch in the midfield. But on the Reddit prediction thread, I had put Vettel winning a race, and I look like a total clown because of that. Definitely does not look like Aston are going to be winners, at least not at this stage. But, I don't know. Given how they did last year, I don't have much hope for that. And everyone's talking about Vettel leaving F1 because of the bad car. Yes, he had a terrible weekend in Australia, crashing out multiple times, including in the race. But it's only one race. He's got no championship pressure. But he does want to win. Aston Martin doesn't look like it will be a force to be reckoned with in the foreseeable future. At least not with the Strolls at the helm. Also, Haas had a pretty quiet weekend last weekend. They didn't make it to Q3, and they didn't score points. Might be because of their Ferrari, links. But really weird. They had like no answer for the pace from the first race. Nice. Do a slipstream. It's a little late on the brakes there. Still made the corner. That took so long for me to pass them in the first place. No yeet there. 118. There we go. Big yeet. And they're driving pretty fast. Yeah, the engine issue would probably come back to haunt him. I don't know. I feel like his Australia was just down to that was his first race of the year. He crashed out in practice and had limited running because of the engine issues in FP1. And in the race, his car's kind of a dog. I mean, you all saw the clips from Hulkenberg and Stroll earlier in the year of the car doing the understeer and oversteer. And that's with Vettel at the wheel. That's not a good recipe. So yeah, he's apparently still happy with the project, but how much of that is PR and how much of that is genuine, I have no idea. I don't know Vettel personally. But when he moved in 2020, he said he had ambitions of, helping the team get to the top, and the team always seems to have regressed backwards. 2 laps to go. I'm eating into the wall again. But so did the RX-7. Yeah, Aston Martin copied the 2014 Ferrari because that's all they know how to do. But that 2014 Ferrari got 2 podiums, just saying. It was often in the top 5 too. Doesn't seem to be the case this year. I definitely get huge McLaren 2017 vibes from Aston, where they got Alonso, and they had a car that was tricky. They were blaming everything on the engine, but then turns out it wasn't really the engine, was it? Because Mercedes seemed to be doing fine. McLaren went from last place in Bahrain to a P5 and P6. In Australia. So it's more of Aston, I think, have built a tricky car. Trickier than McLaren even. But who knows, maybe one day Aston Martin's the fastest team on the grid in one race. I don't know, this season's weird. We haven't had enough races to really observe what's going on. And these brand new cars are strange. ACCGS, yeah, we are about to hit 100 hours. Later on in the championship. Probably on like race 6 or 7. Yeah, Aston does have a B-spec car on the way, so maybe their luck could change. I don't know. I think this year just ignore Aston and get on the Ferrari hype train, I guess. Yeah. It's just strange because there was that rumor, right, that Aston gave Alonso an offer and Bottas an offer to replace Seb. It seems like they aren't particularly happy. Yeah, see, I don't know. B-spec car would usually be a mid-year thing. I don't know. We just won race 3 in 20 minutes. Pretty short race considering professional league. I don't know. I'm not going to wait for the AI. RX-7 is in last place though. Oddly enough. Everyone's jumping around. Here's how the total points look like. RX-7 was a P2. It got last place just now. So I don't know what happened. Anyway, we get some big money. Again, money's not really an issue though. Alright, I think we're good enough free to play shots. Let's keep going forward. Well, I think with Seb in 2019, he's still coming off the fact that he lost 2018 and 2017. And he lost his teammate, Kimi. I think the writing was on the wall the second they dropped Kimi. Because if they dropped Kimi for the young driver, Charles was 20, I believe, when he was signed, 20 or 21. You know, that shows everyone on the grid that they believe in Leclerc to be the future of the team. So, for Seb, that meant win the title right now, or we're not supported a year later. Hey, look at that, oil lamp came on. I didn't even notice that. And did that happen in Trial Mountain? I have no idea. Anyway. Yeah. Ferrari put their trust in Leclerc since 2018, and now they seem to be getting their payout. And if they win the title with Charles, that would be seen as the right move. I mean, I think right now everyone thinks that was kind of the right move. I will say it would have been nice to see what Seb could do with that Ferrari, but Carlos seems like the right number 2 driver. Seb wouldn't be happy being a number 2, otherwise he would have signed with Red Bull. Slipstream. Less than a tenth in there. We hit top speed. FTO goes for a big send, but too big of a send. Yeah, F1 is going to Imola next weekend. They brought it back in 2020, and it's been a recurring race, and I believe it has contract till 2025. How long before Mick goes to Ferrari? Ooh, see, I'm on the fence about that ever happening at all. Because here's the thing. Charles, I feel like is going to be the face of Ferrari for at least the next 5 years. He's young, he's fast, and especially if he wins the title this year, Ferrari will do everything they can to keep him until Charles gets sick of it, I believe. And then the issue lies with Carlos. You know, Carlos had a bad weekend, so you can't really rate him on one weekend. But Carlos is mega consistent. And he's fast and relatively young as well. The thing is, like, I'd argue that Mick hasn't done anything in the Haas to justify replacing Carlos. Because look what Carlos did in that McLaren, the Renault, and the Toro Rosso, but especially the McLaren those years. You know, he beat the Red Bull car, which was Gasly and Albon. And he finished, I think, 6th in 2020 or something like that, something really good. Delivered really awesome races in 2019 and 2020. And in 2021, brought home 4 podiums. Charles can only bring home 1, just saying. But yeah, my side of the argument is, what has Mick done in the Haas to justify the Ferrari seat? If anything, it's Kevin Magnussen who's more ready for Ferrari, because right out of the gate, Magnussen outqualifies Mick Schumacher, who had, you know, full preparation for this year. Magnussen had a wake-up call a few days before testing. Immediately outqualifies Mick and outraces Mick in both races, Saudi and Bahrain. Yes, in Australia, Mick beat Kevin. But, that's the thing, is like, what has Mick done to justify Ferrari? I'm not saying Kevin should be in the Ferrari. Kevin would be perfectly fine in the Haas, to be fair. But, yeah, that's just it. Yes, Kevin be like, I am speed. I could think of like 5 drivers on the grid who would be a better justification to replace Carlos than Mick. But I think Ferrari's dynamic duo of Charles and Carlos is exactly what they need. Now, 2 weeks ago I would have told you, like, Carlos is, yeah, a perfect dark horse for the title this year if he stays consistent, bringing home his podiums, but if he crashes out like he just did in Australia and drops these big points to Charles, then that's not going to happen. Will Daniel Ricciardo get a title? He missed his shot. I am firm on that. Unfortunately, he's in the exact same position as Seb. Exactly the same. The only difference is Seb got his titles when he was young. But Ricciardo had a dark horse title chance in 2018. Yes, that year didn't turn out the way it did, but you remember, Ricciardo was only a few points behind the leaders after Monaco that year. At that stage of the championship, it was like Seb had 2 wins, Lewis had 2 wins, and Ricciardo had 2 wins. So at that point of the season, a title push was definitely possible. Of course, that didn't happen because Red Bull kind of exploded in 2018. But yes, Ricciardo leaving Red Bull was the silver bullet to his title hopes. Yes, the writing was on the wall that the team was geared towards Max, but Ricciardo just stuck with Red Bull, he would have had the title-winning car in 2021. And, you know, he beat Max in 2017 and in 2016. Yeah, Max got a, you know, not a head start because he's in Toro Rosso for the first part of the year, but, and then also there was reliability stuff for Max in 2017. But if Ricciardo had a title chance, it would have been 2021. And if he loses to Max, well then he loses to Max. And yeah, Ricardo had way too much trust in... I was always confused why he thought Renault was the best idea, despite his Renault engine blowing up all the time. When he was in Renault, his Renault engine continued to blow up, and the Honda engine was actually pretty good. It was bulletproof in 2021. Can Perez get the title? You know, right now Perez is ahead of Max in the championship. That's because Max had more DNFs. I would have said definitely no, and I still think no. Over the course of a 23 race season, I think Max will, you know, pass Checo because Max gets those big wins. And Checo, I mean, let's be real, he's only won races because of other people's misfortune. Look at Sakir with, you know, Mercedes implosion, and then look at Baku 2021 with, you know, Max having the tire blowout. If it weren't for those two events, you know, Checo would still be sitting on 0 wins. Now, did he get screwed over in Saudi? Absolutely. He should have won that race. But, you know, that's just luck of the draw, really. Yeah, that's true. You gotta say, if Max's car doesn't keep braking. But if Max's car does brake like every other race, we could have a 2017 or 2018 again where it's like the faster driver gets screwed over. Because if you remember in 2018, Max was clumsy. Like, he crashed into people a lot in 2018. But he also got a ton of podiums that year. Ricardo's only podiums were his wins. Because when he wasn't winning, his car was breaking down. The Max, I'd say, was beatable in 2018 for sure, but it was just down to reliability luck. And who knows, that might happen in 2021. I mean, that's exactly what happened to Max in 2017, was his engine kept blowing up. And his good results, you know, didn't happen as much. Even though, yeah, he won like 2 races to Ricardo's 1 or something like that, you know? Tires are hurting, so I'm going to pit on that bait. Driving kind of clumsy right now. It just looks really good for Ferrari right now in this year's championship. I'd say it's the best it's ever looked for Ferrari since 2008. They have the clear best car, I'd say. Like, if you want to make a comparison, we're looking at Ferrari versus Mercedes 2017, except Ferrari is the Mercedes and this year's Red Bull is that year's Ferrari. They have similar pace, but Ferrari looks like the better prepared team, which is exactly what happened in that year. 2017 was about just Mercedes staying consistent and then Vettel running out of gas. Literally. Well, actually, he didn't run out of gas, he just ran out of luck. But it looks like that implosion's happened a lot earlier than it did in 2017. Who knows, maybe Red Bull have a huge development swing and all of a sudden they're Mercedes level dominant in the second half of the year. That could happen. Who knows, maybe Mercedes could wake up, fix their porpoising, and all of a sudden they're 2 seconds a lap faster than Ferrari. Still early days in the season. Let's pit. Almost hit the barrier there. I'm glad we're not doing these multi-stop races anymore. It's so nice to be done with endurance. Even though, yeah, we drove 100 laps to Tokyo, the 15 doesn't seem that bad. It's like an average GC7 grind race. We will finish this championship today. Yeah, it will be cool to see a three-way fight. You know, the more people in the championship fight, the better. I know everyone's like, the vast majority of social media wants Mercedes to stay where they are. For some odd reason. But, you know, just saying, Ferrari is kind of what Mercedes were the last 7-8 years. It just turns out. Like, I guarantee you guys, like, if Leclerc is winning every single race this year, the Ferrari fans will love it, just like how the Mercedes fans love the dominance. But the general F1 community, as soon as Charles gets one title, they're going to want someone else to win. And Charles will start getting, you know, the same hate that, like, Vettel and Schumacher did. I wouldn't say Hamilton because that's multiple components at the same time. But people were already cheering for Max to lose this year, I saw on Twitter. And yeah, you don't take F1 Twitter seriously, but I literally saw people saying, I don't care about Max, I just wanted him to beat Hamilton. But this year, nobody cares if he defends his title, you know? Which, yes, that ignores the tons of Max fans that have spawned from last year and the previous years. But that's just how the sports community is like. They don't want to see a Tom Brady dominance. Yeah, British bias towards Charles. I mean, everyone's hyped for Charles because, remember, at this point, he's only won 4 races now in his whole career. Lewis has won, like, what, like 103 or something like that? Despite Charles being on the grid for, you know, this many years, getting his podiums. Last week was only his 4th win ever. But there's 23 races in the season. That means there's 20 races left. Charles could end the season on 24 wins, just saying. I don't think that will come to that. But if Charles ends the season on 24 wins, then yeah, people are going to get bored of it. And yeah, part of that is because of race inflation. You know, old seasons used to have like 15 races in a championship, and now it's, you know, 150% of that. So if you scaled like Schumacher's win rate to a modern calendar, he'd probably have just as many wins, or more than Hamilton for sure. I think the really interesting fight right now that isn't getting talked about enough because it hasn't materialized fully yet is Russell versus Hamilton. Right now, Russell has P2 in the standings over Hamilton's P5 because of mainly Saudi Arabia. Because both of them had a 3rd and 4th place, you know, but George scored 5th at Saudi, where Hamilton only got 10th. So that makes the difference. However, in the media, I think it was Hamilton and Russell both said that they just want to keep scoring points for the team. But let's say Mercedes develops and has a title-winning car at the halfway point of the season. What happens at that point? Like, do they both just try to stay consistent, bringing home double finishes? Or does one of them try for a title push? A serious title push? I don't know the answer to that question. Because you don't want to end up in a McLaren 2007 where you have the drivers taking points off each other and then Kimi just swoops in out of nowhere. But then at the same time, it's like, you want you want as much points as you can get. So how do you balance that? Mercedes doesn't want to pick a favorite right now. And they won't until they are properly in that title fight. Throttle, I'll move up the wall. Still chugging away. I mean, that's just called being, you know, hype in general. You want the underdog rookie or the veteran to regain their, you know, their claim to fame, whatever. But yeah, what happens to the driver like Science or Gasly or Ocon, you know? This is the first year we have the superstars of the next generation fully on display. We had teases of it in the previous like 4 seasons, but this is the first year we have Charles, Max, George, and Lando all in, at the very least, a half-decent car, with 2 of them being in a title-capable car. Possibly 3, depending on how the year goes. Who knows, maybe even McLaren develops, so maybe 4. I don't know. Probably not, though. I wouldn't count on it. But this is the first year where it seems like the new generation is the highlight. And that's mainly because, you know, Hamilton and Vettel were like the faces of the last decade. And Seb is more or less fading out of the sport. Hamilton, this is the first year he's not fully in the spotlight. And while Alonso's there doing work, he isn't in the spotlight 100% of the time. More of a case of, like, on this week of Alpine, what can Alonso do, you know? And so far, his return has just done 1 podium and 1 false hope of pole position. That was it. Kept it in 4th. Field, the final lap. We're not going for fast enough on this one, that's for sure. GT40 vibe. These tires aren't perfect. And my driving isn't either. Yeah, I saw that the developers for the NASCAR games, they got their licenses pulled, probably because of the disaster that was the last NASCAR game. Alright, so that's race 3 done. RX-7 is in a much better spot than Trial Mountain, strangely enough. Let's see how that ends up in the points. I believe the S2000 will hold second place. Yes. Only by 2 points though. But this is a short championship, relatively speaking. We're already 2 races ahead. Which means we could have the title wrapped up by the next race, but, you know, whatever. Alright, let's go to the next session. Good old midfield. Short track. Let's go. Or the last 2 races like Route 11 and Monaco or something like that. Let's see if AI are trash on this map. They go wide. Tio had a big moment right there. This Tommy Kyra keeps it on track and the others don't, then maybe we could have some surprise results. Probably up the gear ratio just a tick, but whatever. Actually, no, it's perfect. Big drift. Does the FTO go out? I don't think so. Pretty good fight we're having so far with the Tommy Kyra. This car probably could win with the stock, no upgrades, but it would just take longer than... Our pit strategy is still dominant. But it's weird, because like we want to keep on the same speed as the AI. And like here the AI is matching the speed. Alright, we get a slipstream here. The ZZ2 pits after 3 laps. Wow, that's pathetic. Okay, so he's not going to win this time. He has to pit 4 times. Big spin, we saved it though. Bonk. Big drift. Oh yeah, I guess another news this week. So I finally bought Forza Horizon 5 because it went on sale. And even though I didn't love the price, I figured, well, this game doesn't seem to want to drop in price significantly, so might as well just grab it while it's still relevant. So yeah, I played it for a couple hours this week. Didn't have that much time, but I did pick it up. Your condolences. I thought it's so far a pretty good game, but the only leering thought is that I was just thinking the whole time, like, this is just Horizon 4, just with the new map. Which, that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing by any means, but you know, I started the game, I bought the Ultimate Edition. That means I started the game with 62 cars. Which, talk about a difference to GT7's starting, or any racing game really. What racing game starts you out with 62 cars in your garage? And yeah, that was because I started the game late, and after that was the DLC cars, but there was like a bunch of cars that gave me more loyalty. They gave me a supercar for every old Forza game that I had on my Xbox account. So that was like, you know, the old 4GT, Centenario, the Senna, the Viper, P1, like every cover car from those old Forza games. And then they gave me like the welcome pack, and like you immediately start with the Corvette C8, and I got a bunch of wheel spins, and we were just randomly gifted cars. So yeah, all in all I started with like 60 cars, 30 of them being non-DLC. And you know, half of them being like supercars, so it's like, you know, I do a few races and next thing you know I'm sitting at 900,000 credits, haven't purchased a single car, and I'm just getting free cars, just like crazy. And the AI, I don't know if it's just me, but the AI seem a lot, not necessarily harder, but a lot more unfair. Like, you show up with a car, and if it isn't like specifically set up, the AI is just gonna smoke you. Even on like the expert difficulty. I haven't actually won a race yet, just because I'll turn up with like a stock car, expecting, you know, a relatively fair race, because that's how Forza does it. It does it based off your car's setup. but it puts me against these cars that seemingly are either optimized or just have way too much grip. Way more grip than they should. That doesn't really make it fun then. Unless I drop the difficulty way below. And then, yeah, in terms of the actual event variety, the races are just the races, you know. The map, I will say, is pretty cool. I like the Mexico map. A lot of the stuff there, pretty cool. The little cities, the open roads, the highway. It's a good map. I'd say it's a very good map. But, I don't know, yeah, the progression just feels like, yep, I'm just doing this just to do this. And you're like given something every 5 seconds. I hear like once you get past the main fluff of the single player, it does become difficult to like progress. But yeah, I feel like I'm playing the game with like cheat codes with the Ultimate Edition because it gives you like VIPs, so the houses are free. It gives you a free car voucher, so you could buy like any car in the auto show you want. So that means you could buy the $30 million Shelby Cobra, just so that you don't have to pay for it. Imagine GT7 doing something like that. Yeah. I think the formula needs to be something else, you know. Everyone rates this game a 10 out of 10. You know, all the game journalists love this game. I see why they love it. And I'm not going to be that, you know, Giga Chad whatever that says, you know, I actually don't like it, you know, because I still think it's a good game, yes. It's a very good, well-made game. But it just, nothing feels show-stopping to me. I don't know if that's because I'm older, I'm not 15 anymore, when I used to really play Forza a lot. But, I don't know, it just doesn't seem all that impressive to me. And most of the DLC cars they add in the game are just old Forza cars coming back. Yes, that sounds a lot like Gran Turismo right now. But, you know, a lot of Forza models are outdated. And part of this is because of my PC being from 2017, my laptop, but the game doesn't look super impressive on the PC version. Yes, my graphics aren't turned up to the best settings. And I'm having huge issues with it not being on an SSD, and I tried to clear space on my SSD on my computer, and I just cannot find 110 gigs to run a game on it. I need to either buy a NVMe SSD and just have it linked by USB, which I'm not super comfortable with that, or I need to buy an Xbox Series X, or Series S at least. And at that point it's like, I'll just play the game at low settings with the long load times. I don't know, my game experience hasn't been 10 out of 10. Part of it is because of, you know, the issues with my computer, and then the other part is I just feel like the game just feels the same as Horizon 4, which Horizon 4 felt pretty much the same as Horizon 3, you know? I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, it's like, I didn't need to buy this game at launch. Which I didn't. I'm glad I necessarily didn't, but at the end of the day I only saved like $15, so. Yeah, I just feel like I'm playing a huge expansion of Horizon 4. I mean, I'll still keep playing it. I'm probably going to sink like 50 or 100 hours in it like I did with Horizon 4. But, I don't know, like, on an open day, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I'd just rather play GT7. Even though it has less cars, different style game, shorter game, I'd argue, maybe. I just have more fun driving in GT7. Forza, everything feels like, oh yeah, this is a meta car. Unless you download this setup that was like perfectly optimized to completely break the class it was supposed to race in. You're just not gonna have a good time otherwise. And for all its criticism, GT's sport mode addresses that with balanced performance. Yes, there's a couple meta cars in like Group 3, but it's not so grossly like exaggerated. And plus, in GT Sport they did balanced performance patches, and I'm sure they're gonna bring that back in GT7. So the meta car will eventually fade out. Tonight on Gear cars. I missed when it was Clarkson, the Top Gear guys on the Forza Vistas. Yeah, Bop's already in GT7. I'm saying the Bop patches though. Remember in GT7 where like they'd you know, adjust the balance performance so that if there was a meta car, they would patch that out and nerf it. They'd buff and nerf some cars. I'm sure they're gonna bring that back to GT7 in the next update. They're gonna nerf the Peugeot RCZ and the Mazda Atenza. Probably give it less power or something. Although I've heard that it's not because the RCZ is a faster car, it's because it's easier to throw around, so you can get more lap time out of it. Because rear-wheel drive cars are so tricky in GT7. Yeah, EA had a NASCAR series. I think the last one was like 2014 or something. I never played the EA Sports NASCARs. I feel like I don't think I ever owned a NASCAR game. I always like rented them when I was a kid. I don't remember which one they were. They were always on the PS2. Crazy how game renting isn't a thing anymore. Game Pass is essentially the new renting. Last lap. This was a pretty quick race. When the sedan race car is faster than the F1, yeah. Big on the curbs there on the outside. Bring it on one last time. Can that S2000 get out of the pits before the guys behind me catch up? I don't know. Yet another one awaits. I think he made it across the line. Yes, he did. It's the Altezza coming past him. There you go. Only the RX-7 didn't get lapped in this race. It's a good job on the RX-7 to claw those points back. That brings us 50 points. We have clinched the championship already. So there you go. I could just end it right now and get the prize car, but we're gonna go for 100%. You know that. Alright. Alright. Let's keep going. 2 races to go. Will we hit the 1 hour mark on this race? I have no clue. What's it gonna be? Route 11? Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright. This one's gonna drag, but we'll hit the 100-hour mark on this race, I'm pretty sure. It's Route 11-2. Like that, we're in the lead within a couple corners. I should have put on softer tires, but whatever. The lights are just beautiful on this track. Oh man, we sent it too deep. Catch the slide though. This time we turn in too early. Thanks to Z2. Bump. Or you know what? Will we hit 100 hours? What's going to be the lap time? It's going to be around 2 minutes average, isn't it? So that means 30 minutes, and if we're at 99.25, we'll be at 99.55 by the end of the race. There you go. We'll be on the last race. I think it's Monaco. NASCAR Thunder and chase for the cup. I feel like if I rented a game back then, it would have been one of the NASCAR Thunder games. That was made by Papyrus, I think, right? I don't remember. Papyrus, I believe, is the fan favorite studio. Alright, so we should brake at the 100. There we go. Maybe even earlier than the 100. Papyrus. Car 03. We broke way too early for that, I think. Or maybe we were just right. Making it calm and collected. So we bopped the wall. Probably could have thrown the super slicks and done a no stop race here, or whatever. Is that a Gulf livery? It is a Gulf livery. It's it's a real Gulf livery too. How you doing, Mohammed, by the way? Good to see you again. There we go, don't bop the wall. Get a sub 150 maybe. The inside curb, but that's alright. Yeah, EA Sports has kind of just been on regression since like the PS3 era, pretty much. The PS3, 360 era. As soon as they figured out how to make games online and start charging, like, you know, extra for microtransactions and stuff like that, that's when it all went out the window for pretty much all sports games, to be honest, but there were still a good number of them. Yeah, the Gulf livery is great. I'm glad that GT7 has an actual livery editor where you can bring that back on many cars. And what's really cool about GT7 is that a lot of the cars that you can wide body, like, create the special editions for a car. Like, for instance, if you take the McLaren F1 and put a wide body in it, you get the McLaren F1 LM, which is, like, really cool to me. That's like a way they, like, sort of doubled the car list in a way. And, like, the F40 could turn into the F40 LM. Like, so many cars can change just with the body kit racing, it's like the racing modification from GT1 and 2. Now, it's not the case for every car, of course. Some cars you can't wide body, and then some of them are just a wide body version. A lot of cars were sneaky like that. Which, to be fair, a lot of the road cars in GT7 are based off, they're race cars based off road cars, right? So what happens if you take a wide body kit and put it on a road car? You get sort of the race car version. Yeah, F1 2022 is in a strange spot. Here's the deal. I didn't play so much F1 2021 as I did on like previous F1 games because I just straight up didn't have the time and interest to grind another F1 game when like 90% of the calendar is the same and the cars drive the same. I wasn't too impressed with F1 2021. Like, I didn't get fully into the career mode, but I did that breaking point story mode thing completely. It just wasn't that impressive to me. It's like a similar feeling I got to Forza Horizon 5 in some way. I'd say Horizon 5 is a much better game, sure, but I just feel like, and again, I don't know if this is just me, but F1 2021 just doesn't feel interesting. At least not to me. And yeah, I've played pretty much every F1 game since 2017. And each game I've played less and less because, you know, it's more or less the same game, same experience, and I have limited free time, so I'd rather play more unique experiences, like single-player games, like stuff I haven't experienced, like, I keep saying this over and over, but like Ratchet & Clank and Metal Gear Solid. I've never played those before, and they're unique, so I'd rather spend my free time experiencing those for the first time than experiencing F1 for like the 6th consecutive time. And yeah, ironic, I'm playing GT3, a game I've played over and over as I was a kid, but this is a new way to play GT3 for me. I've never done a true 100% playthrough like this. I've always had to like use cheat codes or like go sequence break or use an overpowered car for everything. I've never done a true 100% like this. Yeah, no lap car overtaking safety car in that game. Checkmate. I feel like games in general these days just kind of like have no soul. I'd even throw GT7 in that category, you know? You can see that the developers wanted to include so many like cool little things. There's so many knickknacks in GT7, but when you look at the fundamental of the game, it is a lesser experience than something like GT3 and GT4. Because they have to drip feed the content. A lot of cars are just return cars. The economy is, even though it's better, it's still busted in that game. The fact that people are exploiting the SRT Tomahawk to grind a race just a little bit faster, that tells you all you need to know about the game's economy. And then people are praying that Polyphony doesn't fix this glitch, and it's like, when you get to that point, it's like, what even is the definition of the game, you know? So, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my retro games here. And the games I'm discovering for the first time all came out 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah, NASCAR terminated their contract with Motorsport Games, I'm pretty sure. Or at least pulled the license. So, I think that studio's dead now. Which, you know, after the release of that last NASCAR game, just, not really surprising. Big drift. Yeah, the thing is, like, it's just Ignition got no QA testing. It probably could have been a really good game if it weren't for just it not being tested at all. That seems to be the crutch of modern games, right? They ship them out and they're loaded with bugs. It's a total mess. Just release now, pay now, we'll fix it later. It's good enough. But then that hurts the reputation of the game, and then you get stuff like this. Alright, flat 8. Let's pit. Pretty consistent pit strategy here. Let's go for a quick chug. This is a long pit lane. When I was playing GT3 as a teenager, did I ever fall asleep during race? No. Something I got really good at was sheer endurance during racing. You know, to better answer your question, maybe, I could turn my brain off completely when playing Gran Turismo. when I was grinding GT5 last year to get the Platinum Trophy, and I was grinding the A-spec endurance race, especially the 24 hours Le Mans, I just put in my headphones, put on, you know, a playlist on Spotify, and I just sort of shut down internally, and just next time I come to my senses, you know, 2-3 hours has passed in the endurance, and my lap times are bloody consistent. And that happens quite a bit when I'm doing this GT3 playthrough, when I'm doing these 20+ minute races. You know, like, even though I talk a lot more because, you know, I'm streaming these, so I'm always trying to look out for chat. I never fully turn off. But yeah, I don't know if it's just something I've just formed a habit with when I was younger, but I could have mega endurances if I enjoy the car I'm driving. Like that slide, not even thinking about it, and I just perfectly controlled it. And yeah, but by the way, hi Igor, how you doing? Good to see you again. I think NASCAR 08 is like the meme one. Never heard much about NASCAR 09, but I'm not surprised that it's considered trash. So, do you think Max is going to pull his name from the F1 license? I know in F1 97, I own that game on the PS1, Jacques Villeneuve is not in the game. It's just called, you know, Player 1 Driver. It's like called Driver 1 Williams, that's what it is. And Damon Hill is the teammate. But Jacques Villeneuve is not in the game. Every single other driver on the grid is. So could we get something like that for F1 2023? Is that what you meant, James? I feel like it's part of Max's F1 contract, though, that he has to have the video game agreement. I feel like that's something like F1 has to sign off on when they license the game. I mean, crazier things have happened. Ford driver from the PS2 WRC games. I have never played the PS2 WRCs, so I'm assuming it's a similar case. But the thing is, F1 97 on the PS1 was the best F1 game on the PS1. It's the one that everybody wants. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, because it is, for all intents and purposes, a old, outdated, kind of poorly controlling game, but when you consider the PS1 era, it still had a lot of content packed in there. I didn't think it was too terrible. Maybe if I had a CRT, it would be a better experience, but on a modern TV, that game is just really finicky. Instead of calling the creators Ford driver. Back then, wasn't everything always like Colin McRae Rally? That was like the rally game to play back then. And there was like 4 or 5 games like that, and then that eventually just becomes dirt. And I guess, yeah, even right now, dirt and WRC are 2 separate series. I mean, In the WRC case, I believe that's probably because Colin McRae had his own video game at the time. Yeah. I played Dirt 5 exactly once. I played it for 1 hour, and I told myself after that, okay, I know I'm not coming back to that one. I thought the Dirt 5, like, it wasn't, like, god-awful, but it just felt like, I don't know, kind of clunky and not really my style. AI felt like trash, and game objectives, while pretty straightforward, I was not interested in all I'm doing. So, you know, I just thought, I'm just going to play Dirt Rally still. I still sometimes come back to Dirt Rally. I played it a couple weeks ago, the first Dirt Rally. And that was pretty fun. The game's pretty challenging, but you can have some good fun with it. Dirt Rally 2, I have it on the PS4, and that game's harder to drive because I use the wheel when I play it. What do I think was the easiest license in GT3? Ooh. I would think, like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think what I did first try. There was a handful of tests in, like, the B and the A license that were really straightforward and really easy. I'm just trying to think, what left a giant hole? I mean, obviously S8 on the North American release. For me, it's really easy to get the gold time, but, you know, not everybody can handle the GT1. The rally tests, normally I'd say, yeah, they were pretty straightforward, but even the rally, you had to be kind of intentional with your steering. And some of the rally ones were really hard. I'd say maybe, probably something in a B or A. The one with the Beetle is really easy if you know the breaking point. Like B1, obviously. Some of them are just plain easy. Yeah, Dirt Rally can be addictive. But that's the thing, I don't grind Dirt Rally, so, you know, when I do come back to it every once in a while, you know, it's a good time. Play it for, like, you know, half an hour, and then don't play it again for a while. Flip Darkman. About to lap the FTO again. And he pits again. More often than not, he's pitting. 2 laps to go. Yeah, we are not going to hit 100 hours in this race, that's for sure. Yeah, you are. Don't fully spoil it. We only have a few real surprises left in this game anyway. I guess while I have y'all here, I do have an open question for you guys about the next championship after this, since I could start thinking about it now. Would you rather see a car that matches the pace of the AI, or a car that completely obliterates the competition, but we have to watch it for like 6 hours? Personally, like, you would save maybe 1 hour total across the championship, so maybe instead of 6 hours, it's 5 hours with an overpowered car. Or you make it more interesting, more true, match the pace, takes longer overall. So Snowtato says matches. I was agreeing with that. That being said, you can drive any road car. If you had to do a road trip, let's say along California coast, you're going all the way up the state along the shoreline. You could choose any road car you want. You have to drive it for 6 hours though. What would it be? You get where I'm going with this? Oh, Money says overpowered. That's Igor. Personally, I was feeling like driving a, I haven't really thought about what I want to drive. I thought about maybe a Corvette, maybe a Lotus Esprit, maybe even like an MR2, something like really slow that could really push it. Maybe a brand new Impreza. Mercedes F1, yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing alright. I had a pretty busy week at work. I had to do a bunch of overtime. And I also had to study a lot. I have an exam coming up in less than a month. And what that meant was I couldn't really stream during the week at night because I had a limited time to do it. I had to study for most of it. And you know, I turned my brain off to play Forza Horizon 5 for maybe like an hour. I think I played for a total like 2 hours this week. And then I bought some stuff in GT7 yesterday. I had a weird day yesterday at work. I was supposed to have the day off, but I had a tight deadline, so I had to come in for work. Not come in, but log in. I didn't do a full day of work though. I will get that day off back later on. Alright, 60 points. We are 3 full races ahead, by the way. And it's still super tight between the RX-7 and the S2000. Who knows what that will be come the last race. One thing for sure though is that FTO and ZZ2, despite being the fastest on the track, is in the most pain. Let's save the game, just in case. We've made 2 hours of progress here, almost. How's the workplace internet? Actually, my home internet is faster than in the office. So that's kind of funny. But I have really good internet at home. Alright, Monaco, 20 laps. Yeah. It's gonna be one of those. Well, no way around it. Let's just get going. This is gonna be a long boy race. and also one I'm pretty sure we're going to obliterate because the AI are trash on this track. But kind of fitting considering we're driving dream cars. This duo that's super fast but super terrible on strategy. Big A. Much Noel. Yeah, I saw Justin message me that Asphalt 8 apparently only has 2,000 active players, like, total. Which, what a downfall. Ooh, getting punted on the side. You have spring break in the middle of April? That's weird. I always had it in March. It's weird. I don't get a spring break or a summer break anymore. I just work now. And then I do get vacation time, but, you know, it's not like a guaranteed. I have to just find some weeks to take it. I'm taking one of my vacations in May, but that's not going to be for grinding YouTube. That's going to be for me partying, just saying. After my exam. I will not be in a state where I could stream. Whatever. Yeah, the AI does a long boy rev on these tracks. And it was the case like this in GT4 as well. There was a handful of tracks where sometimes they just, you know, keep tapping the throttle to redline, and then sometimes they just hold a long boy rev on some other tracks. It's weird. It has been almost a year. I left Asphalt on pretty much my birthday. May 15th was my last Asphalt stream, and that was the last time I played anything noteworthy in Asphalt. Yep, we are going to hit 100 hours in just a couple laps. Getting around, but it still drives better than Diablo. Maybe we should have used the Diablo for this championship and used the GT40 for the Monaco Endurance. I don't know. What's done is done. Yeah. Well, it was both high school and in college where I had spring break in March. Although I think in high school I always had it late March, and then in college I had it early March. College works completely different to high school though, the schedule. And even by college the schedules can be different. Some schools do trimesters, some schools do quarters, some schools just do 2 semesters. Some schools start in like September and end in June, and then some are like, you know, August and early May. Why did I retire? Simply, I just didn't find the game fun anymore. It was multiple reasons. It all came down to, though, I got really sick of the grind. And I had made up my mind early in 2021 that I was going to completely leave Asphalt. And then there was just a multitude of things. Number one was I still wanted to do YouTube, but I wasn't, you know, fully set up at college where it was like I could just bounce to another game. So I thought, okay, once I graduate college, then I could also say goodbye to Asphalt at the same time. Because at the other time, you know, that was before I had a full-time job. And I knew that once I got a full-time job, I could not grind Asphalt the same way I used to. And that's why, you know, I've played a game like GT3 where you can just pick up and play and take a break for even months at a time. Doesn't make a difference. A game that you have to continually play like Asphalt. And then, like, you know, play every few hours if you want to keep up with, like, the car hunt and all that. I couldn't do that as a working person. But then yeah, number 3. Like, why did I not find Asphalt fun anymore? The game was like way too repetitive for me. Like, it got to a point where like it just seemed like the updates kept making the game worse and worse, and I thought, why am I even bothering with the multiplayer? You know, the cars are so similar that you don't even need to get the new meta car. Even if it is faster, it's so expensive to upgrade it all the way that it's not worth your time. By the time you do invest enough tokens into it, another car replaces it. And on top of that, there's not even a benefit to having the meta car unless you want to record top 1 laps. But I wasn't in a spot where I was like an Asphalt 8 where I could challenge for top 1 all the time. I just wasn't as skilled as someone like Atik or Alex. I was like good enough to get top 20 or something like that pretty often, but nothing more than that. If I had a PS1, I would choose Gran Turismo 2 all the time. You know what's funny? I think I just beat the gold time for S8 on NTSC on that lap floor. That's really funny. We are at 100 hours. Look at that, guys. 100 hours of GT3. And we are not even done with the game. We're close, but we're not done. Yeah, even if Feek left. The Titans left. Does Alex still play? I know I should know that because I'm still subscribed to him, but I really, like, every time I see Asphalt in my sub box, my eyes and brain just ignore it. Just straight up. I don't even keep track of who's posting anymore, what's going on. Yeah, $50 for a digital car, it's just not right. I mean, the reason Asphalt fell is I feel like the same reasons I left is people just got bored of it. And the grind became too intense. For the people who invested money, it became too expensive, and for the people who invested time, it became way too time intensive. Will I do a playthrough of all the Gran Turismo games? Like, before I die? Probably. I wouldn't count on that, you know. I could die today for all I know. But, I mean, like, I want to. But I have to put so much time into that. Maybe I won't do a 100% playthrough of every single Gran Turismo. Just due to time limitations. But, I don't know. I want to play through GT4. I really do. But I don't want to do that this year. I want to take a break from Gran Turismo on the channel, besides GT7. Like, you guys gotta understand, once I finish GT3, you know, I'll play some GT7, and then I'll play whatever games I feel like, and then we'll start our next playthrough, which is, it's gonna be Burnout 3, but Burnout 3 is not nearly as long of a game as GT3. And then who knows, maybe we can even play some regular games, like a Need for Speed or something like that. GT3 is just such a long game. That's the game I opened with. But it's a year-long project. Yeah, if you guys thought GT3 is a long game, GT4 is like triple the length. GT5 is similar to GT4. A longer game depending on if you want to go for a true 100%. There's just no chance I could do that within a reasonable time period. I work full-time, plus I have to study for exams every 6 months. And I have a social life that I'm still trying to keep together. And GT3, yes, is a huge commitment to the channel, but it's still just long enough where it's like, okay, I don't turn into a complete tunnel vision channel. Maybe it seems like that given how the year's gone, but I think we've had a good time overall. I can only stream pretty much guaranteed once a week, and then anything else is a bonus. During exam crunch time, I can only stream on these times in the weekend because I set them aside. But if, like, let's say my boss is watching my YouTube channel, he'd be like, why aren't you studying? And it's like, and you look at the timer, 100 hours, I'd have to say, But I do make time to study a lot more when I'm closer to the exams. They are a big deal. Which, if you haven't caught on, yes, despite I graduated college, I still have to take professional certification exams for my actuary job. There's 10 exams. I've passed 3 up to this point, and I'm working on my 4th one, and that one's next month. Pretty busy season. And at the same time, I get busy with work too, so, you know, there's just that to balance. CEO of exam, yeah. If you guys still watch Furum, he does the same career I do. He's still a student though, but he also takes exams. The same ones I do. And I think he just passed his 3rd exam too, so he has the same number as me. He's in a really good spot right now. So another late congrats to him, although I've already told him that, but those exams are no joke. So, you know, Furen talks about how hard the exams are, or how busy the studying is, you know, I can attest to that. It's no joke. Yeah, I saw Asphalt had a deal where it was like, you could buy a Bugatti Chiron something, Chiron Super Sport, and like 50,000 Fusion coins for like $50. And it's like, why would anyone buy that? Didn't they put like the Agera RS or something like that, or the Jetsko, something like that, for $5 for an ultimate car? And yeah, I don't care about Asphalt anymore, but it is sad to see where it's ended up. There go the usual suspects into the pits. Yeah. Asphalt's pricing is ridiculous. Like I said, I bought Forza Horizon 5 this week. I paid $85 for it, 92 after tax. I got the Ultimate Edition. I started the game off with 61 cars, 61, 62 cars, something crazy like that, with like 30 of them being non-DLC. So, considering how much they charge for one car in a mobile game, it's a rip-off. Alright, even though if the tires can go a little bit longer, I will pit at half distance, because I feel like it. Arc 7, what are you doing right here? Would you be leading the pack? Yes, 2000 is going to run away with it. Last pit stop of the Dream Car Championship. $32 days till the Indy 500. I told you guys that I'm going there, right? My tickets are right behind me on that dresser right there. Or at least my parking tag and ticket. My real tickets, race day tickets, are digital. But yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to go. I'm going to be spending that weekend in Indy, so obviously no stream that weekend. Boo-hoo. But maybe I'll take some footage and maybe post it to YouTube or something. I'll probably just end up talking about it on a stream like I did for Road America. But yeah, I'm really hyped for that. My first 500. I'll be sitting at turn 4. Hoping the weather will be good. Slides you have to negotiate. Yeah, mobile games, they've been kind of garbage for years now. I feel like the true golden age of the mobile game was like from like 2010 to 2013. Before they figured out microtransactions fully. And then there were a few splashes of brilliance here and there. But I don't follow mobile gaming in general. Like, I know there's some mobile esports for some stuff like PUBG and Clash Royale. But, like, what is the scene of a non-asphalt mobile game these days? I was not paying attention to the road, I was paying attention to my controller to make sure it wasn't caught on something. It isn't. Oh well, that wouldn't have been PB anyway because I was lapping the field. Angry Birds is back on Android. That was pretty awkward. Didn't get the rotation I wanted. fastest lap. F8, you completely forgot the Devo event happened in 2021, which was that first paid special event, Legend Pass only events. That was the silver bullet for me personally. Was the Devo event was my cue that okay, this game doesn't like free to play anymore. Or they made your life hard, but still possible free to play. But now they make it impossible without waiting. Look at that, a sub 130. I just feel like the Devo should be noted outside of special events just because of how significant that was to the downfall. That was a really good section. Really, really good. Could have been cleaner with the walls, maybe a tad, but still pretty good. Another 29. I personally don't care for the Chiron. I don't think it's an ugly car. I just don't care for it. I don't consider it like classically beautiful. I don't consider it like, you know, a poster on the wall kind of car for me. Some people find it beautiful, but I don't really care for it. I think the Bugatti was better designed. Sorry, the Bugatti. The Veyron was the better designed car. And even I thought that was like a giant bug thing back then. Oh man, so much understeer. Ruined my good lap. I think my tires are starting to fall apart. Not really though, they shouldn't be. I'd be more intentional in steering though. That will hurt my lap time a little bit. Still a 129 though. I could be so quick in this first sector. I mean, art is subjective by nature, by definition. So, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You ever hear that phrase? It's all subjective when you're talking about art. And especially with like a supercar, that's a piece of art, I'd argue. Along with, you know, a great piece of machinery. How do I do the rubber run trick from test course? So what you do is you go to the options, you set your input for acceleration to up on the right analog stick. Then what you do is you just take a real rubber band and wrap it up along the right side of your controller, where like the R2 button is, and just make sure it, you know, grabs that right analog stick and yanks it all the way up, and then you're permanently holding the gas. So you don't have to hurt your fingers at all for 30 minutes on test course. I did that trick when my fingers would start hurting after playing GT test course for anything longer than 10 minutes. Because if you're holding your hand on a button for 10 straight minutes without letting go at all, it could start to hurt. At least for me. I've always had that issue. And you know, when I'm driving like this, even for multiple hours, you know, I take my foot off the throttle to brake and steer. So I'm not always pressing a button. So I'm always giving, even if it's for a few seconds, some rest to my fingers. But test course, you can't do that without the rubber band trick. And then with the rubber band trick, it's not even like you're playing. You just, all you have to do is steer, and your hand can be off the controller for 80% of the lap. I still think if you're looking at Bugatti's like best designs, I mean, I think the EV110 looks pretty cool. I see where its criticisms come from though. And then you could look at the really, really classic stuff from like the 1930s, and it's like, how do you judge beauty on that? You know? 1930s is a completely different era of cars than what we have nowadays. But that goes for all eras, pretty much. But if you told me, like, what's the most beautiful looking car of the early 2010s, you know, you'd say it's something like the Audi R8 or the Ferrari 458 or the Lexus LFA, you know. Or even like the Koenigsegg CCX and CCXR, I argue, are more beautiful than the Veyron from that era. 2 laps to go, by the way. I think we're done running 129s. Because we're about a lap to field again. Big slide. Yeah, I just do not take the racing line that you should take. The quick line. And then if you ask me, like, what's the most beautiful car of, like, 2018 or whenever this year end came out, right? I'd still tell you, like, the 488 Spider, the Huracan, Pagani Huayra from that year, the Huayra Roadster, absolutely gorgeous. Even something like the 4GT, which isn't, you know, super clean looking. It looks just the right amount of aggressive. Why does the timing carrier look like a Skyline? Someone smarter than me answered that question. It's supposed to be based off of Toyota, actually. But I don't know the exact history of the car, but I think it's a butchered version of some Japanese sports cars. I might have the Skyline's rear lights in real life. I'm not sure, though. Someone smarter than me answered that. You could probably look up the history of the car. It's probably available on, like, the Gran Turismo wiki or something like that, or Reddit, or whatever. So this battle between the S2000 and the RX-7 is pretty tight, but it looks like the S2000 is going to bring it home. Unless there's a last-minute overtake into the Anthony Nose or whatever. All these laps in Monaco, I still don't fully know the names yet. They don't tell you in this game. You just pick them up from watching F1 with the broadcasters talking about them. Yeah, it's similar to like Roof and, you know, they tune cars. One last tail whip. 30 minutes later, we hit the 100-hour mark, go around the last corner one more time. Cross the line. Dream Car Championship Professional is done. I think the RX-7 is going to hurt its points with that pit. Unless he crosses the line. I think his points are going to drop. Watch this. He dropped from 3rd all the way to last, completely destroying his race. Not the move, my friend, not the move. Oh well. So at the whole field twice, by the way. So that completely obliterated the point standings there for the RX-7. Let's see what the final turnout was. We get a clean sweep, by the way, but, you know, this GT40 was on point. I actually loved driving this car throughout the series. It just felt just the right amount of control. The RX-7 actually holds on to P3. I think the S2000 actually overtook it. I believe so. So there you go. DZ2 No Man's Land, Altezza No Man's Land. We're kind of a no man's land in first place up here. Anyway, that's it. That was a good championship. And you know what? That was just the right amount of length. Where, you know, after doing so much endurance and doing that JGTC and that All-Stars, it was good to have maybe a shorter championship. Fortunately, that's the last time we'll get something this short. Because we're in the super license part of the game. Anyway, prize time. For money, which is kind of irrelevant at this point, we get 250 grand. Pretty weak prize considering it's an S license championship, but I don't really care. Money's fake now, pretty much. Do you care about the prize car? What is the prize car? I see a thing with the wing and I want it. Look at that! Formula 1, again. Let's see. Looks like a 1990 car. And it is black. I think I do not have that color, so I will take that. Proudly. There you go. Clean sweep. Let's go. Let's give a thick oil change to that. Car wash and oil change. Let's go. Good job, GT40. You did well. I'm not even hyped about an F1 anymore because we have so many of them now. Okay, make sure you get your F1 chances. I wonder what the odds are to not get a single F1 car in a playthrough. I know like that you can put an actual mathematical probability on that, but I don't care to do that. But yeah, an F090S, another 1990 McLaren Senna version in black. Looks pretty cool. I think I have 3 of these now though. Or no, I just have 2. I have a red one, or pink one, and I got a black one. Okay. What does that mean for percent? 95.6%. Almost 10 million worth of prize cards though. Pretty good. And almost 10,000 miles. So that is the end of this segment.